There is an old saying in Arabic which means a house divided cannot stand. It will either perish or lie desolated. This adage may be centuries old, but it never fades in relevance. Just have a look at the Arab world. There are over 22 Arab nations with at least 400 million people. They follow the same religion, they share the same sets of beliefs, but they do not get along so well. They are divided in camps, they are mired in conflicts, both internally as well as externally. And tonight, we tell you the story of 3 such Arab nations, 3 countries that are either facing domestic turmoil or an existential crisis. These countries are Syria, Libya, and Lebanon. Let's just take you through the troubles that they are facing one at a time. We'll start off with Syria. It's in the grip of unrest. For the last 2 weeks, there have been a spate of protests and strikes across government-held areas, especially in the province of Soweda. This is one of Syria's 14 governorates. Its inhabitants are mainly the Druze, and they are demonstrating against the government, asking Bashar al-Assad to step down. Watch this. So the question is, why are these people protesting? Due to economic mismanagement. Reports say these protests were spurred by a rise in fuel prices and corruption. And they quickly morphed into anti-government demonstrations. The protesters are now also seeking a transitional government and requesting the release of thousands of Syrians who have been put behind bars. This has never happened before, by the way, at least not in this province. And the fear is these protests could soon spill over to the rest of the country. And we will not be surprised if they actually do. Just have a look at what the numbers tell you. The Syrian pound has sunk to historic lows. Last we checked, it stood at 13,000 against the dollar. The country's 12-year conflict has pushed 90% of its population under the poverty line, and over 50% of its population faces food insecurity. So given the state of affairs, it only seems to be a matter of time before the protests spiral. The second country of concern is Libya. It's in the grip of political turmoil, courtesy a secret meeting. A meeting between Israel's foreign minister, Eli Cohen, and Libya's former foreign minister, Najla Mangoush. Yes, she no longer holds that post. She has been sacked for secretly meeting Cohen in Rome. Now, in case you're wondering, what's the big deal? Then you must know this. You see, Libya does not formally recognize Israel. Plus, there is widespread public support across the Libyan political spectrum for the Palestinian cause. So, when the Libyan foreign minister meets her Israeli counterpart, questions are bound to be asked. And why just questions? There are protests as well. Have a look at these visuals. They are from Monday. This is when several Libyan cities witnessed protests over this revelation. Some protesters, in fact, burnt tires, others blocked roads. And to stop the protests from escalating further, the Libyan Prime Minister visited the Palestinian embassy today and reiterated his government's support for the Palestinian cause. But the people say this might be too little and too late. Listen to this.
Wallahi la.
Of course not. Honestly, we are against normalization. These Jews are our enemies. They displaced the Palestinian people and treat them with no mercy and are not giving them any part of their rights. We condemn this meeting with Israel, especially if the normalization was planned and if this meeting really happened and it is not staged or something, then honestly, this is not acceptable to Libyans.
Country of concern number 3 is Lebanon. It is in the grip of an unending crisis. You see, ever since the 2020 Beirut explosion, Lebanon's economy has been in disarray. Its GDP has been on a downward spiral. The Lebanese pound has lost 90% of its value. Inflation and poverty have only skyrocketed, and most Lebanese are unable to access their savings because of the strict capital controls. And the situation is not improving because of a political deadlock. In fact, last week, the country's Prime Minister urged the fellow parliamentarians to resolve the issues and pass stalled laws. And he went to the extent of telling them to do so for God's sake. Listen to this.
Today we have reached a very difficult stage and our economy is becoming cash-based. And this cash-based economy will expose Lebanon to many risks if a law for a recovery and restructuring of banks is not passed. It is necessary to restore a normal banking life so that we can get out of this crisis. Otherwise we will go from one crisis to another and the situation is very difficult. Oh God, I have spoken several times and I say it again. I have informed the situation is very difficult and if we do not reach a solution, let everyone bear the responsibilities.
So you have Syria, you have Libya and Lebanon. All three countries are plagued with crises, and we haven't spoken about other Arab nations that are facing similar issues. The likes of Tunisia, Iraq, Yemen. They are all facing overlapping crises. And how exactly do we perceive this? Is the Arab world going up in flames again? WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.